I'm sorry I wasn't recording that. That was actually pretty funny. At least I think it was.
Oh, well.
But then again, sometimes, you know, I think I'm funny. And that's always the fun thing, you know, when you manage to amuse yourself.
Yes.
What is going on here? Well, people, guess what? It's Friday. It's this sort of chill, high alpine Friday.
It's 68.
Is it?
It's not chilly.
Well,
it's comfy.
no, it has this, like, just a little bit of a in the air.
Well, if you're in the sun, I guarantee you would change your statement.
Very alpine-y. Very alpine-y. Anyway, it's Friday. It's Friday. And it's a little sunny, too. You know, whatever. I'm glad to be doing this. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. Crazy couple of weeks. I've gone through some stuff this last couple of weeks. Had some big life events that we dealt with. Not anything bad for us personally. Just, you know, we're getting older, and I'm getting older anyway.
Thanks.
I'm getting older. I'm getting to the age where, you know, when you have a new pain, you're like, okay, is this something that is just a thing right now, or is this kind of like the rest of my time? That's what, you know, you think about stuff like that. And also I'm to the point where, you know, we're starting to lose friends. You know, I lost a friend, somebody I've known since before kindergarten, and it was tough. You know, it was tough. So, you know, love your friends, and remember, I just honestly, I kind of took him for granted.
Based on what I was overhearing lots of people say at the memorial, because he kind of kept dying and then not dying. So I guess everybody.
And for anybody who thinks that's bad, Scott himself would have laughed at that.
But anyway, so based on my listening to people, everybody thought that he'd keep going, but.
Well, yeah, it's just like he had survived so much. I mean, one of our other longtime friends, my buddy Jeff, you know, many people have called Scott, he was a medical miracle. His online name was I Am 3 People because of all the transplants he'd gotten. Tremendously funny person. Very kind, good dude. So it's been a big weekend, all kinds of stuff, but that's why I just didn't have the bandwidth free to, you know, go out and make another video. I had crazy stuff to do. Any case, is that better? It's getting there. Getting there. Okay.
Well, now I look really
You do?
short.
Well, we can go more like this. Should I crank it down? Maybe I can go. This is part of that problem too. Don't worry, people. I'll edit this out. None of you will actually be seeing this. I swear I'll take the time to get rid of it.
And he put that in there in case he does forget.
Which I will. Okay, let's check our wrists.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, actually got good light. You ready for your wrist check, people? It's 6139 70 30. I forget what is the thing. It's JDM. Didn't it come out? Well, that's a beautiful, beautiful watch. It's not the stock bracelet. This is an aftermarket Bambi that I put on there, but she likes it that way. Actually, the color's really good, honey. Stop moving your darn wrist. Anyway, that's a nice speed timer, and I am wearing my 8306 7000, or is this a 6000? I forget. But anyway, this is it's a beautiful piece. The 8300 series movements were really nice, Swiss style. So hand winding and automatic. They use a Swiss style automatic winding, so they're not quite as efficient as a Seiko, but they're also much thinner. It's not a tall movement. They sit very nicely on the wrist. This is a JDM piece. I loomed it. It wasn't supposed to be loomed. I loomed the outer steps on those markers, and I also underloomed the hands because I can't stand a watch that doesn't have loom. Watch has to have loom, but I haven't worn this for a while. I'm wearing it now. People sometimes they sniff. These are 18,000 BPH, so they're not a high beat or anything. This is like a standard, you know, tick speed for, you know, a standard, you know, watch. People sometimes they sniff about it, but you know, it's a graceful movement, and they just chug along, and this watch is extremely accurate, and it's nice because the train is so less stressed than in a high beat. Maintenance is a lower level of, you're not going to have to service this quickly. I just think they're beautiful. This is Oh yeah, it's a business A, Seiko business A. Is what this is. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's crazy. They're really close. Also, there's a step on these markers. It has a step on the top and the bottom. Yours is only the outside, the top. So, in any case, are you ready to do this thing?
Almost. I
This thing called love. What is this thing?
This is the thing.
That's the thing. She wants to know what love is.
Oh.
And she wants you to show her. Hey, Erg.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
Hang on, I got cat fur on my glasses.
Well, that's just fine. Okay, well, the first question is...
The Arnie SNJ025 review.
This is the solar Arnie reissue that came out, a good few years ago. Not many, but more than a few.
From Retro Noir, I think. I am curious to hear what Arnie thinks of the new Arnie.
I tell you, here's the thing. Okay, I spend a lot of time, online doing stuff. Arnie's really active on Reddit. And so if you go there and hunt around, his account is there. I go and every now and then when I remember that he's on there, I go and I poke him to say, hey man, do you still have your original Arnie? Do you have your Arnie? Where is it? He's never responded. I'm sure he's never seen it. I wonder whether whether or not he still has it. So anyway, everybody needs to go to Reddit right now and find his account.
What is it, the Governator?
It's like the Governator or something. But I bet if you Googled, Arnie Reddit, it would come right up. And we've got to find out if, in fact, he still has that watch. It's a similar project to the one that we have to do for Joe Walsh of the band The Eagles. Joe Walsh, in the promotional photography stuff for when Hotel California came out, the group shots, it's like a studio group shot. He's clearly wearing a 6139 6005 gold Pogue, a later one on the Taper H-Link. And I've been writing him too and been like, dude, do you still have your watch? And I've never heard from him, not for any. He's supposedly a really nice guy. He probably just never seen it. So somebody out there in television land must know him. Somebody must know him. He just lives down in Boulder.
I know.
I want to find out, what if he's still got it? What if it's sitting in his sock drawer
Very
right
well
now?
could be.
And it literally could be. He's an old guy. Old guys take their old watches off, and they throw them in their sock drawers, and that's what they do.
Okay, can I move on?
Well, did I answer the question?
What does Arnie think? I don't know.
There we go. We don't know.
4TS 6139 8029 Rally. Giuseppe Zavaglia 9286. Would you say this wears smaller than 40 millimeters on the wrist? I am considering buying one, but size scares me. Although dial to case ratio seems like it would indeed make this watch shrink a little on the wrist.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't I make a segment for those people who've never seen one of these or whatever, and I'll do a comparison for size with other watches. The short answer is I think it actually does wear a little smaller for a couple of reasons. The taper bracelet, it pulls some of the visual weight away from the watch. Also, the fact that it has sort of a high dome crystal that's relatively small in what seems to be a larger case, the smaller dial, because it's one of that whole dial setup and everything was designed to have like a tachymeter ring and everything around it, but that was omitted for the rallies. They didn't make those. They're a much simpler design. And so sometimes I think that it makes the proportions different than a lot of these other watches.
I had to look up which watch it was. It absolutely...
Well, here, poke your camera at the thing.
It absolutely wears smaller.
Yeah.
What else is 40?
Oh,
what's another watch?
Rolex Submariners are 40.
That feels bigger than this.
Well, think about a Rolex Submariner too. Is it has that rotating ring, which actually even extends beyond the edge of the cases. I guess when I make this segment, because I literally was just looking, I saw both of those watches this morning. I have one of each of these. So when I do this segment, remind me, I'll grab those watches, and so people know what the heck we're talking about. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Okay, talking 40 millimeters and the size of this watch. So this is a Rally. This is an Aussie Rally. The only difference being is that the Aussie has this Stellux bracelet. Stellux made this version of this Rally steering wheel spoke bracelet. The American version was also made by Stellux, but it was open, hollow in the middle. So these holes went all the way through, and the hinge setup was slightly different. This bracelet uses the chiclet style middle links. This is a Stellux signature piece. This tech where they have this quite complicated multi-piece middle section of this bracelet here. It's something Stellux only did for their top of the line stuff. I can identify Stellux by the thickness of the links and the curves and stuff, but that's really diagnostic. You see that at Stellux. The main other difference though is because these are really linked together like this bracelet's actually pretty stiff. It can be a little uncomfortable to wear. It's one of the reasons I don't wear it. Whereas the American one, which has the open back on it, also has a smaller connection, but it makes the bracelet much more flexible. In any case, talking about size, this is a 40mm watch. And that crystal, that's a 31mm or a 30mm crystal, I forget. It makes the whole watch wear smaller, and the taper bracelet does as well, because with a taper, you're visually cueing off of down in this area, and so it's a narrow watch. So you have this small watch built into a larger case. For comparison, here's a Rolex sub, also at 40mm, and you can see visually they present entirely differently. This is my 168000, the so-called 000, shortest production run of any of Rolex subs. The first 6-digit sub, and mine is the rarer second variant dial with the S of Submariner looks more like a backwards Z. It's also the last model with tritium loom. It's the first model with framed markers. You know, I wish it was the other one, but this is if I want a 000, this is what you want. It's got a Stardust dial. Sometimes the dials in these degrade rather badly, but this has retained this beautiful Stardust, which I really like. They only made these for like 16 months. This one's completely original. I have everything. I have the box and tags and everything. Not made for very long at all. Not made. It had the old 3035 movement in it. It's a transitional. It had the old 3035 movement in it, not the new 3135. It wasn't ready yet, so they kept putting the old one in. It's got the 904L case. Wait, or does it have the 316 case and the 904L bracelet? They were changing their stainless steel, and this kind of got half of one and half the other. In any case, here's a little digression on watches for you and the meaning of 40mm. Good for her. Getting out and going. I approve. I should do it. Whew, I sound like my dad.
Somebody has to.
It's true. It's undeniable. He's not available.
Exactly. Last mail call.
Last mail call.
Bruce Barlow 6604.
Look, honey.
What?
Look at that lampshade. It looks like I'm wearing it on the back of my head.
Which
Okay.
means that you have a toucan on your head.
Oh, I do. Oh, I was talking about my friend Scott, right? Okay, so his memorial service was this last weekend. See this? See the sticker right there? It's his personal motto, which is the peace sign, a heart, and a drawing he made of a burrito. Peace, love, burritos.
Okay, Bruce Barlow 6604. If you're working on mainly Seiko stuff and need mainspring winders for the 6000 or 7000 SKX series, just get the Bergeron numbers 6 and 7 right and left hand winders. This will cover them. Another tip when winding the 6000 series, use the number 6 RH shaft with the number 7 barrel. It's a lot easier to get the shaft up out of the spring.
That's great stuff. That's all really good. That's all.
You understood it.
I did. Well, it's tough because, well, here's the thing. You've got the barrel. Imagine like a shallow soup bowl, okay? You got your barrel, and inside that you have your mainspring, which is all coiled up. And then in the middle of that, you've got like, imagine a spice jar. Okay, and that's the thing that when you wind the watch, it tightens up the spring that's in there. Getting that thing out of there without also simultaneously pulling out the mainspring itself, so it goes kaswink, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
The way I do it personally, I use my number 5 tweezers, and basically when I crack the cap off, and it's like the cap is sitting on, like you've got a little plate on top of that bowl. When I've got the plate is loose like this, I'll get my fine tweezers and I go in and I clamp like this so that the barrel with the mainspring in it is in here, and then I pull it up, and then still holding it, I can then with my other hand go yank, and I can yank that out, and that's the end of it.
Okay. Joseph Stewart 4440. Hey, Spencer and
Hello.
Sabrina. Question for next mail call. The plexi crystal on my 6119 6003 broke after letting a mate handle it at the kitchen table a few weeks back. He dropped his stubby of VB beer on it. What? While reaching for the chips. Am I speaking another language?
You might be. Well, this gentleman is from down under.
Freaking Bluey.
It's all the kids are watching right now. It's Bluey.
Yes, imagine we'll walk around and like be like, okay, mate.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And also, no wait, they use some piece of Australian slang like this morning when I was making eggs for Sebastian.
Really?
I was like, but they used it with each other and they recognized it.
Yeah, they'll be watching Bluey and they'll be like, Mommy, what does blank mean? And I'm like, I don't know.
Hey, I've got that same hat.
Yes, you do.
I tell you, Bluey, this is America barely survived our first infection with Australian culture back in the 80s. And now it looks like it's happening again, and now they're coming for our children.
Well, at least it's not Peppa anymore. I read that at the height of Peppa, little kids were developing a British accent.
I know. I remember reading that. There was a debate on Reddit talking about, somebody asked, is Peppa posh? And they were like, oh, she's quite posh.
Anyway, okay, we're talking about the plexi crystal on his 6119.
Oh, right.
Yeah, blah, blah. Will I be able to just change the crystal, or will this potentially need an overhaul, given there may be tiny fragments of plastic floating around in the watch now?
Well, there wouldn't be yet, because they should be tracked. If there's any microscopic pieces of whatchamahookie dropping around in there, they would still be on the dial. So you drop the movement and blow off the dial. Typically, when plexis break or anything, they don't shatter like glass. They don't have a whole lot of debris that they spread around. They'll just the material parts, and that's usually just about it. I wouldn't just change the crystal.
True Blue Miata. I'm trying to get him to get me a Miata.
It's true. I've started actually looking at him. She wants a Miata because Moss Motors, now they've moved on. They're doing MG still, but they also have a whole Miata section.
Well, there's this one, guys my age, I guess they're like inheriting their dad's Miatas or something. And one guy has one and he glued eyes on the things. And then around Halloween, he'll put vampire teeth down on the happy mouth part, or he'll put eyelashes on it.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought that was adorable.
That sounds adorable.
Mm-hmm. What are you looking at?
Oh, there's somebody walking their dog, one of our neighbors. That he and his wife, they had a new baby like last year. I haven't actually seen them. They had been walking up and down, but the time that they've been walking, either they don't walk anymore or I'm not around or up to see them. And I just wanted to see what he was up to and where he was going, and what was happening.
So there were these neighbors down the road, and the kids went to go play in the backyard because they have a playground. And I was like, "Oh, when did you guys move here?" And they're like, 2019. And I was like, I don't talk to my neighbors.
Yeah, really, it's like we're just finding out about this stuff. But, you know, we're the weird house.
Yeah, we're the weird house
with the weird people.
But I don't care.
Maybe we're not the weird people. Maybe everybody's weird. Who's normal?
I don't know, but we're other than like the really old people, we've been here longer than everybody, so I don't care. I'm not trying to fit in with anything. Everybody's having to fit in
At
with
this
us.
point, yeah, we were here first.
Yeah.
So, except for Tom across the way, and he spends most of his time in, survey says, Australia.
It's true. Oh, right, we're doing questions.
We are.
True Blue Miata. Hi guys, I can't
I can't recall. Okay.
if you've already looked at the SRPK17 Sport Diver reissue. It looks pretty faithful to my relatively untrained eyes.
Yeah, we had a review video that we did of it. I actually just saw that watch. I was digging through my crap because I was trying to find something else that I've misplaced. That it has to be here somewhere. But I was digging through my crap and I saw that watch because it's all boxed up. I just don't think I'm ever gonna wear it. We should probably put it on the website. I mean, we can keep it forever. It's a limited edition, but it's just it hasn't spoken to me on the wrist yet. So I rather than try and push it, I just put it away. So I don't like holding on to watches if I can avoid it. Believe it or not, I swear to God, I'm not a hoarder. I don't want to hoard watches. Maybe we ought to put that one on the website.
Burger. Moro Gomez 4223. Hi Spencer and Sabrina. I am looking for a birth month and year Seiko. I am from March 88. You are a year younger than me.
It's true.
Which model will be the cooler option to search for? Best regards from Spain.
March 88 is a really kind of a middle transitionary period where that's right when the whole Dynasua thing more or less was stopping. It had already mostly stopped at that point. The classic 6000 series divers were not being made anymore. Everything, it's no more 6309s, no more 7548s. You can sometimes find things that late, but that's tough. But they had stopped and they had moved over to either to quartz for almost everything, or for mechanical, you need a 7002 diver.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah, but that's a super early one, so you might have to look for a JDM one. I don't know. It's early. You can still find. There are 7A quartz chronographs from that time that are nice. They were kind of just producing them, just still around then. You're right on that knife edge, but it's like at that time it was all about. Seiko was all about LCDs, technology. That was kind of one of their big deals, in analog quartz chronographs, and so they were really thinking about that. They made a good number of. It was right at the time they were still producing a lot of 7006s, 7009s, and they're just kind of. There's nothing that I can really think of there that's like really like compelling, but there's a lot of choices. And I'm not sure what your flavors are, but my first stop would be looking for a 7002 diver.
I concur. I agree.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes. XYZ chain 4199. That noise you hear is the cover on the MGB. So it, yeah, not just
the other MGB. The other MGB. I don't know. She doesn't like it, but I love it. The sound of the cloth. It's like a sail luffing. You know, you said that when you're heeling around and you can hear the sail, flapping over you.
I'm a jumpy person and I hear it and I'm like, ah, somebody's coming.
I don't know. It's a comforting sound. It's like rain on a tent.
I've never gone camping.
Yes, you have.
For a second. Oh wait, no. No, I don't even feel like going there right now.
Well, we're never going there again.
It's
true. It's 100% true. Never going there again.
XYZ chain 4199. Hey Spencer and Sabrina, I recently got a March 77 Turtle in an okay state for cheap, a little over $50.
Wow, now that's a great deal.
It got a good clicky bezel.
Wow, not one but two.
What?
She's pushing a double stroller.
Well,
doing her exercises, man. Getting out there. Double trouble.
It got a good clicky bezel, and the tanned hour markers are in good condition. The chapter ring, though, is faded out. My problem is that it got a destroyed crown tube. It looks bitten off.
Really?
My question is, have you ever done a crown tube replacement on them, and how easy is it? I'm kind of skeptical about doing the drilling by hand since I won't be able to get another case if I mess up.
Okay, so here's the deal with those. Maybe I ought to do a segment on this one.
Yeah, probably.
Because I have to show up. It's a great idea. It's absolutely what you want to do. It makes perfect sense. You have a great case with a damaged crown tube, and you're like, it should be easy. I should be able to just replace it. Oh my goodness gracious me. I'm sure it can be done, but let's break. Okay. I went and I dug through all my crap, and I found some good examples. The watch the gentleman is asking about, it's one of these 6309 7040. This is a 6309 7040 that has that I put an upgun 6306 movement into, plus a kanji English day wheel. So this is sort of a faux 6306, except it's not, well, it doesn't say 6306 on it. Other than that, it's 100% what a 6306 would be. It's a nice watch. I should wear this watch more often. I put a lot of work into this watch. If anybody's wondering about this mismatch, the yellow dial loom and the white hand loom, these were being produced right at the end of the grandfather tuna run. The grandfather tuna had this same, buttercream colored dial loom. You can sort of see it taper off through 77 and into 78. I've never known, this combination is entirely correct, 100% correct. Somebody had a good theory, which is that these being this sort of deep buttered cream instead of the white standard loom of Seiko loom later on, was because it was a waterproofing material, but who knows? Okay, this watch, the problem he's having is that his crown tube is jacked up. Half of it is missing, much like this case. This is a case it's a 6309 slim case. It's also used for the 7548 quartz divers, which are built on the 6309 architecture. This is what a full crown tube is supposed to look like. That is what they look like when they're not chopped off. So the question is, because the way Seiko made these, Seiko's casework is incomparable. They really, really know what they're doing. And they're serious about making sure that the functionality is preserved. So they have as few openings into the inside of the watch as possible. The case is machined out of a single piece of steel, a billet, and then there's a hole drill here to accept this pre-machined crown tube, which is put in place. And then it is, when it's in there, it is electrically welded in there. They red hot it up and they weld it in place, and it will not come out. Jonathan Koch of blessed memory, the true John Twist of the Seiko world, he actually went so far as to cut a junk case in half right here at this joint to try to get one of the tubes out so he could replicate it. He could have them made. And he could never get the tube out. Even with it in half, it was just welded in place, couldn't do it. If those tubes existed, you could do it. You just machine out, the port there, machine that out, have the new one, put the new one in, solder it in place. You absolutely could do it. The problem is you cannot, there are no replacement tubes that I'm aware of. And we're back from that journey of education.
The Rdunae video.
This is the Rdunae's RA3, their version of the MIL 113W Vietnam era US military 24-hour watch that they made.
7R Slender. Just found the brand Kelton from France that was in some way related to Timex in the old days, and they seem to be doing something that Timex is just not capable of. They produce a hand-wound version of the camper that looks pretty similar to the watches that went to Vietnam. It's called the Kelton Jungle.
I looked that up. That's very interesting to know. It's very interesting to know. I haven't heard of Kelton that I can remember. I don't know. I just, I love the idea that if you're gonna come up with like a 60s style cheapo, not cheap, but like the old style, cheapo drugstore watches you buy. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, actually. Ooh, actually, look at that. It's got this one. This Kelton, it has almost like a Type 1 Explorer style chapter ring on it. That's pretty cool. You see those there? That's pretty neat. I like, yeah, seriously, like that mic window. Though that might actually make the watch wear smaller with having that big chapter ring on it. I don't know. I'll have to look more into it. But being able to have an inexpensive hand winder, I think, is fun. What's the best, though, of course, is like my 8306, have it be a hand winder and an automatic.
From Solbrook. I have had my RA3 for several weeks and I love it. The aesthetic nails it. Nobody is doing this watch with the correct size. $51 delivered to USA. Good loom, lasts all night. Timekeeping is about 1 second slow after 2 weeks. Not bad for a $5 movement. Had a Hamilton KFM and sold it. 38 millimeters, too large, and the L2 long. Wish Hamilton would put this out in the size finishing of their Pilot Pioneer with the H50. I would buy one in a heartbeat. I feel like I went in multiple directions by reading all of that at once.
Well, he wrote it in multiple directions all at once.
Well, usually I can figure out where to stop and then carry on, but I didn't this time.
No, it was a stream of consciousness.
It's okay.
It really was. Mine, mine is back in the. It's a cool watch. Mine was keeping accuracy. It was really tight. It was really tight. It wasn't quite as tight as yours, Saul. It was like a couple seconds off, but really tight. Especially for an inexpensive movement, but not a cheap movement. Inexpensive movement, but not cheap. The damn thing is metal and it has bushings. It has an actual movement inside of it. It's not. Like Seiko makes, stuff that looks like it was, made out of chewing gum on some of their cheapest movements. So they're just kind of weird and blobby looking. This thing is actually metal. It has a metal train. So that's a serious step up. That's tech overkill for a quartz.
Super U1T? I was issued one. At that time, it was plastic and radioactive loom. On the back, it had the military specs and part number. If you lost it or just wanted to keep it, you signed a form and $30 came out of your pay. Nobody wanted it hardly ever.
That's interesting, isn't it? And we have been asking ourselves, why is it that all these guys in Vietnam, people in Vietnam, why were they going down to the PX and buying Seikos? Why was everybody didn't they get issued watches? I guess they were considered a piece of crap.
And radioactive.
Which, that does add a little bit of zing.
Yes.
It's a little bit of zing there, just gotta have a little bit of fizz. That is very, very interesting to know. So, I guess you weren't required to wear them. As long as you had a watch, that was fine. As long as you had a watch, that was good. I'd be very curious to see how that worked out if you were issued a piece of equipment, something specific like a wristwatch, and said, screw it, I'm not going to do this, if it wasn't a uniform requirement. So if you have the time, if you hear this answer and you have the time to answer, I'd love to hear why.
Okay, now we're in Greenbean land.
Oh, okay. So folks, I'm going to pause here. So we pause for a second. Everybody wake up. It's Greenbean time. And I want to say many thanks to... I spoke about my friend Scott and his memorial. Now he has two older brothers, both of whom I've known for as long as I've known Scott, and they know me. But anyway, the middle brother is, of course, he's local here. But we were talking, and he watches these videos. Like he came marching up to me at Scott's thing. He was like, "How's Greenbean doing?" And I was like, "Holy crap!" And I thought that. And then somebody else, Matt Luttrop, asked me the same question. Well, what's up with Greenbean? God damn. But Matt, one of the things I'm scared about doing is doing the welding on the GT, because electricity is a tool of the devil, and or witchcraft, or both. I'm not sure. Do those go together? Are they complementary? Do those stack? No, what do I know? I don't know. I mean,
Puritan.
well, it is true. I am amazingly puritanical. But anyway, but he said, I was telling him my woes about my lack of, welding knowledge. And he's like, oh, because he works with metal as an artist, metal artist and stuff. And he said, oh, yeah, come over. I'll be glad to teach you how to weld and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I can bring my own welder. It's, it's from our very own Fort Collins Forney company. He's like, I've worked for Forney forever. So he's a Forney guy, like an actual Forney dude is going to show me how to do welding. And what's cool, I have sections of cut steel from that GT. So I can actually do my learning on the right metal for the car. But it was super nice. That was super nice to see him. And it was an extremely sweet offer of him, which I will take him up upon, did you see that Groovy Love van that just drove by? That was a Don't Come a Rockin' If This Van's a Knockin' van. It was really fate. You didn't see it?
No, I saw it. I thought it was a Good Times van.
Yeah, it was similar, but it was a Chevrolet.
Oh.
But it had that whole quadraphonics, shag carpet thing going on. Just really old and faded. But anyway, I'm looking forward to working with him and learning about that. And, if he's willing, I might, I don't know, if I'm willing, I might have him film a segment for me so I can prove to people that I'm capable of welding something.
Anyway, watch me draw 4340. I love watching this. I watch channels like Vice Grip Garage.
Yeah, I love those shows, but it's their fault that I'm in this mess. I mean, I'm watching this thing. The first one I saw from Vice Grip Garage is he went, and it was like it was a white 1970 Cadillac Eldorado two-door hardtop that had been sitting in a low spot in a farmer's field for like 25 or 30 years. And he got it up and he drove it home. So I keep thinking, because I already am an extremely optimistic thinker, it can't be that bad. Whatever the situation is, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Everything's be cool, no problem. That's how I ended up doing this, because it didn't occur to me how difficult it would be to, rip apart watches and put them back together if you don't know what you're doing, which I did not. And I'm in the same situation as Greenbean right now, where it's like, you figure, if he can get that Cadillac up and going, why shouldn't I be able to do it with this? But yeah, no, I love channels like that. I love, but it's got to be real though. Like some guy, there's another guy, Restorable Rescues, I think is his channel, but he's just like, it's really, he does barely more editing than I do, which is, it's something, I guess, more than I'm doing, but he pulls cars that are just junk. And he works with them, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but it's fun. His videos are fun.
David WY9JL. I think the lines on the clutch slave cylinder should be reversed. The bleeder should be on top and the fluid connection opposite the piston. Any air in the line will bubble up to the bleeder valve. I have paper towel.
Oh, you do? Can you grab me one? Thank you. Awesome. Well, okay, yes, you're correct. You're correct. In my defense, that part came with the bleeder valve in the wrong place in the packaging. It was in the packaging the wrong way. Here's the original. So you can see it's sitting inside the car. Just the attitude of it right now is just like this. So from your perspective, it's on the underside of the transmission like so. The line comes in here. The only thing is it's kind of got some twist tension on it because there's no way to spin the thing. But yeah, there's the bleeder. So this then is kind of like that. I don't know if that counts as up, but that's the way it is. Unless I turn the car sideways, or unless I bleed this without it being bolted to the transmission, which I could actually do. That's not impossible. That's literally quite possible. I don't know if that would help. Would that help? Am I supposed to do that? Should I have done that? Anyway, here it is. The problem I'm having now with the clutch is the way these things work is you've got your slave cylinder here, and you kick you hit your pedal, and the fluid goes in here, and it pushes out the piston here, which pushes a pusher, which hits a lever like this, and it just sits in there. And if it gets dirt and gross and grottinous over the years in the water, it wears away. And so now it's kind of too short, and so it's like the clutch throw is too short, I think. So I'm not quite sure how to deal with that, but in any case, you were correct. And thank you for that. As soon as I read your comment last night, I dove right back into Greenbean, and I got it corrected, and with Sabrina's help.
Greg Moradian 3711. That's correct. John Twist did a video about that. Just swap the bleeder and hose around. You'll see when you do it. Nice work.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much. And yes, John Twist. Actually, I love John Twist. I haven't known about him for very long. University Motors, John Twist. He's this MGB guru. I'm what I do with Seiko in terms of how people, I don't understand. He's kind of like me, but with MGs, and obviously a lot more competent, with far more work history behind him. But in his presentation and how he explains stuff and how he does stuff, he's a very cheerful dude. His videos are fun to watch, and they're totally not pretentious, like, at all. And he has good instructional videos, and he has a ton of material. I don't know, I wish you were around. Mr. Twist, if for some reason you ever end up watching this video and you're bored and you're here in town, that was a Marty, well, it wasn't exactly a Marty McFly truck, but it was that same era. Those trucks are actually kind of rare. The Marty McFly truck, those are actually kind of hard to get a hold of.
Oh.
But anyway, if Mr. Twist, if you're ever in, Fort Collins, Colorado, please stop by. I really need some help.
Bruce Barlow 6604.
Hello.
Forget about using that vacuum bleeder pump unit. Just go old school and use a glass jar with brake fluid in it, with the bleeder hose, a two-man job or a man-woman job.
Yeah.
Check to see if you have power at the distributor points. Open and close the points to see if it has a spark. Good luck.
Thank you. I actually did go through the distributor, and I looked at the points, and I didn't get any power through them, which is why I went and pulled the condenser, because that was the next diagnostic step. Because I was actually going through it. The book is open, and I'm just going through it step by step. But I stopped because when it seemed like the condenser was bad, I didn't have a replacement. Everything on this car, like when I got the car, when I got Greenbean, the Greenbean sat for a really long time somewhere damp, and it got corrosion. She got corrosion like all over the place. The very first time I pulled off that distributor cap, there was rust. I could see rust, like dry rust. You know what I'm talking about? Just like surface rust on on parts of the inside of the thing. So I said, to heck with it, and I ordered a complete brand new of the right 25D, whatever the heck it is, distributor, complete distributor, should come tomorrow. And so then I'm going to drop that in. I'm going to I'll do a static adjust on the timing, see if I can get that where that is, so I know that that's not an issue, hopefully. And then I'll keep going. I'm going to get spark, and this thing is going to run. The compression is evening out. The last time I did a compression test, they were all at 125 with the low cylinder number 3 at 110. Now, if anybody's out there wincing, the numbers I started out with were like 60. So it's doubled, and it's definitely seeing up better. The car sat in that weird corrosive environment wherever it was with no carbs and the intake manifold not even on the car itself. So the valve shafts were open to the atmosphere. The valve seats are open to the atmosphere. I don't know what it looks like under the head. So I want to get it running, and I want to see if I can get it to seat in and if it'll behave. I don't want to go nuts. I'm not going to go ahead and pull the head without needing to have without needing a reason to yet. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway.
Mastango 22. My dad had an NGA, and that did it.
So did mine.
And that did it for me. Always loved NGs, and also Seiko dive watches. You've got the most interesting stuff. You're truly an artist.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think my greatest strength is art. I think my greatest weakness is technical ability. So I wish I had a little more technical and a little less art, but I don't know. I didn't make my skill set.
Greg Moradian 3711. The early tack was positive ground.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on just 1 second. We're talking about the tachometers, the tachometers for the MGs. The early ones, the early cars were a positive ground. So it was positive was the way that the thing cycled. Later ones were negative. So I'm putting in a 67 dash which I'll show. And the 67 dashes, they had positive ground. This thing is negative ground. So I have to, if I want to use that correct original instrument, I have to do some special hookum skookum to try to make them going, and that's what this is about.
Okay, the early tack was positive ground. A friend of mine took the faceplate off the smaller negative ground tack and placed the body in the larger housing. You'll have to alter the case in the back, but you won't have to convert the wiring. Some owners swap the gauge over to negative ground. Being that you're into watches, you'll see how simple it is to transfer the gauge internals to opposite cases. Lots of fun.
Okay, well, cool. I don't know how easy I'll find it. I mean, I guess being a watchsmith, I'll have small tools. But I did actually, I read your thing, and I was like, okay, I've got a couple challenges. And so I did some Googleification, and I came up with some how-to threads on the mgb-gt forum that specifically address it. It's crazy that the winding of the thing is all, there's like a little coil of white wire on the back, and it goes through this little plastic block one certain direction. And to change the polarity, you change instead of the power going in this way, you cut it here and you make the power go in this way, and you run it backwards. You have to do something inside as well. I'm not sure what else, but it didn't sound terribly complicated, which means I'm sure it'll be hellishly complicated, and I'll probably have to do it 3 times before I get it right. But I think it's doable, and then actually your comment gave me a kick to go and look, and now I feel a lot more sort of sanguine about that particular task. But so I was going to show off I'll show off the dash as is now, and then that's pretty much the end of this video. Mm-hmm. So if you want to see the Greenbean dash, that will be that is something. Or do you think I should make? No, I'll do it here. I'll do it with this, and then I can include that segment in the next Greenbean video. So for fun, so here's the dash. I don't remember if I showed it to you after I stripped it down and then primered it. Just for fun, I dropped the original instruments in there. I haven't rebuilt those yet, but I'm going to. For anybody who's complaining about me needing a manicure, ladies and gentlemen, I'm underneath a British car every single night. So, you know, I'll get a manicure when the time comes. Just don't worry. I use technology to protect the watches I work on. But in any case, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make this right. And I've got to, I have to put this in. I've been going back and forth. I don't know. I gaslight myself and think, well, maybe it's wrong. Maybe this dash is fine or whatever. And I talk myself into saying, well, maybe it'll be easier. And there's just so much work that I've done on this car. Maybe it'll be easier if I just leave that Abingdon pillow dash in there, but I don't want to. And now there's no better time for me to swap it out than right now. So I'm going to do it. Hard or not, difficult or not, it's going to happen. I will. I've done so much. I can't believe I've done so much and the damn thing isn't running yet. Oh well, new distributor's coming tomorrow. Sorry, I think I got a piece of fuzz down my throat there. Sorry about that. I have a question for the MG experts. One question. One of the things that Vice Grip Garage does, and I've seen him do this more than one time, he'll get some car, and the radiator's leaking like crazy, or the hoses are rotten or whatever, and he'll just rip them out, and there will be no coolant inside the engine, and he'll get the engine running. And he said this more than once. He says, it's fine for a minute and a half. It's not a problem. And I've always wondered about that, because Greenbean right now has the coolant system is out of it. It makes it easier for me to get to everything. Can I start her without a coolant system in place, even if I get her running even for 15 seconds? Or is that, obviously it's not good, but is it doable? Or do I need to go? I mean, obviously she's gonna need to have her coolant system at some point, but I'm thinking that if I run into a problem and it's easier for me to fix it because the coolant system isn't in place, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either. All right, folks, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the flip side, whatever that flip side is. Okay, bye-bye.